this was at Think Progress, I think yesterday. Alaska, whose governor, Bill Walker, is an independent. He's a former Republican, became independent. Alaska will become the 30th state to accept and adopt Obamacare's optional medical expansion. The governor there said he will use his executive power to bypass the Republican-controlled legislature and implement the policy on his own. Bless his heart. Governor Walker has been advocating for Medicaid expansion for over a year, and implementing that particular provision of the Affordable Care Act would extend health coverage to an estimated 40,000 low-income residents in his state. And polling in Alaska, once again, shows that the population is in complete disagreement with the thugs and bastards that are in the legislature. And that turned out, polling found the majority of Alaska residents agree with that position, even though the Republican-controlled legislature in Alaska says no. And even though the majority of people agree, Republican lawmakers, according to Think Progress, have repeatedly blocked efforts to approve the expansion of the public health program, saying that low-income people need to take more personal responsibility for themselves. Sons of bitches. Walker apparently had enough of the, for example, State Representative Shelley Hughes, Republican, said in reference to uninsured Alaskans when the House voted down Medicaid expansion back in March, this freak said, quote, "I think in this time, in these lean years, it's time for communities to pull together. It's time for churches to step up. It's time to help give a hand to each other as individuals." Oh, that's so wonderful. We can be kind as people. It's not government's place to be kind. As if this had anything to do with kindness. No, you jerk ass. It has to do with money. People can't afford medical care. Has nothing to do what the churches are going to do. What? Have the pastor do an appendectomy? Go have one of the deacons take a look at your strep throat? You freaks. So Walker's had enough. In a press conference yesterday, the governor said he will move forward with Medicaid expansion without the legislature's approval. Walker said, quote, "This is a final option for me. I've tried everything. Thousands of Alaskans and more than 150 organizations, including chambers of commerce, local hospitals, local governments, have been waiting long enough for Medicaid expansion. It's time to expand Medicaid so thousands of our friends, coworkers, neighbors, and family members don't have to make the choice between health care or bankruptcy," end quote. Now, why can't Republicans get that through their empty goddamn heads? I mean it. Why not? You freaks. Oh. Even this right-wing nutball in Ohio, John Kasich, fought for months with members of his own party to implement the policy until he finally got it. It's time for Alaskans to go to church and pray away the cancer in your stomach. You don't need Medicaid. You don't need any of that. It's time for Alaskans to stand together and defeat cancer. And how do you do that? Let me see. I'm not sure. But having medical care is not a way to do it. Really? Really? So you mean that legislators in Alaska are as goddamn insane as legislators, say, in, let me think, Georgia?